So I have a good friend that I met recently who has asked for a lemon raspberry cheesecake. So we're gonna make it. I'm gonna start with the crust. I have a cup and a half of graham crackers, crumbs, which is about 10 crackers themselves. I have a third of a cup of sugar. And I'll mix that together. And then I have 6 tablespoons of butter that I've melted. So I have gloves on because I knew I was going to want to do this by hand at some point. Okay, so I have my springform pan. I'm going to dump my graham cracker crust mixture into my pan. And then I'm just going to press it down. To make a perfect crust. Now I have, and you don't want it on the sides, just the bottom. That's a beautiful thing about a cheesecake. So the oven is preheated to 375 degrees. We're going to pop this in for about 7 minutes and then we'll get started on the rest. So for the raspberry part of our lemon raspberry cheesecake, I'm going to make some raspberry syrup. I have 6 ounces of raspberries and 3 tablespoons of sugar. And I'm just going to puree them. So once it's fully pureed, we are going to run it through this sieve, and that is so that we can get the seeds out, because nobody wants seeds to get stuck in their teeth while they're trying to eat cheesecake. Gross. So as you can see, I'm just running it through. And I want to get as much of this syrup out as possible, just without the seeds. And there we go. We're going to set this aside and we're going to mix our cheesecake together and then we'll add this to it. So my graham cracker crust is out of the oven. That took about 7 minutes. And now I'm going to start on the cheesecake filling. So I have 2 pounds of cream cheese that is room temperature. All of my ingredients are going to be room temperature today. That allows it all to cook at the same rate. So nothing is cooked before the other. So first thing I'm going to do is let this cream the cream cheese together until it's smooth for just a minute. Okay, so to my 2 pounds of softened cream cheese, I'm going to add 1 1/3 cups of granulated sugar. And we're going to start off slow. I'm going to add 4 eggs, and we're going to do these individually. So I'm going to crack it into a bowl to make sure there's no shell in it. And then I'm gonna add it to my mixture, and I'm gonna let that mix for about 30 seconds, and then we're gonna add the next egg. I'm gonna slow it down but not turn it off and add the next egg. Increase the speed for 30 seconds. Egg number 3. Decrease the speed again. Add my last egg. And speed it up. All right, now we get to add the really fun stuff. So I have a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. I have a 1/4 cup of sour cream. I have the zest of 1 lemon. I have a tablespoon of fresh squeezed lemon juice, which is about 1/2 of a lemon. And then I have 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And I'm gonna let this go, and then I'm gonna get a pot of water boiling on the stove, and I'll tell you why when we're ready. All right, so our cheesecake mixture has been mixing for about a minute. Now I'm going to look how pretty that looks. So I'm gonna get that bit of lemon zest because we want that flavor. I'm gonna mix in, stir it up with a spatula to make sure that we have a clear mixture here. And I don't have any big clumps. We need to make sure that it's all smooth, that way it'll cook. Okay, so then I'm going to pour it into my cheesecake pan, my springform pan. And then I'm going to take my raspberry syrup and I'm going to drizzle it over the top. I'm going to take a knife and just kind of swirl it just to make a pretty design, just like that. Now we're going to wait for our water to boil. Then we're going to put this in the oven and we're going to, wait, I need to get some tin foil and wrap this up. Give me just a second. Okay, so I'm going to take my cheesecake. I'm going to put it inside this tin foil. Now, I'm going to cook the cheesecake in a water bath. Because of that, I want to make sure that none of that water gets into the cheesecake. So we wrap tin foil around the bottom so nothing seeps into that springform pan. But you don't want to cover up the top because you want it to cook. So just like that, and we're going to put it back in the pan. Our oven is set to 325 degrees. We are going to put this in the oven, and then we're going to pour boiling water in around it, shut the oven, and let it cook for an hour. So our water is boiling. I'm going to open my oven, put in my beautiful lemon raspberry cheesecake, and I'm going to take the water. You want it to fill about halfway up. We're going to slide it in and let it cook for an hour. So it's taken about an hour and 5 minutes at 325 degrees. If you notice, the cheesecake is still a little wiggly. That's normal. I'm going to open the oven, turn the temperature off, and let it sit in the open oven for about an hour. And then we're gonna let it cool to room temperature, and then we're gonna refrigerate it overnight. So our cheesecake has been sitting with the oven door open for the last hour. So now I can remove it. And we're going to wrap it up and put it in the refrigerator. And tomorrow, once it's cooled off completely, we'll take it out of the pan and show you what it looks like. So our raspberry lemon cheesecake has been chilling in the refrigerator overnight. I'm going to take, this is called a cake release, and I'm just going to go around the outside and try to get the parts that are sticking to the side of the pan to release. There we go. Now I'm going to take, release the pan itself. And there we have our lemon raspberry cheesecake.